everyone. So, welcome to week 7. And as usual, we're going to start this conversation by discussing anything from the weekly readings. So, I am going to talk about the importance of teamwork, and this will be influenced by the TED Talk titled How to Turn a Group of Strangers into a Team. And I would say the importance of teamwork is crucial, it's necessary in this day and age because we have massive goals that require a lot of moving parts, and not one person can be responsible for those moving parts. So being able to work as a team and work effectively as a team is highly important now, more so than ever, and it's just essential. And the speaker in the TED Talk, she gave the example of a hospital, and one patient sees roughly 60 personnel depending on the specialty, and the shift, etc. And I didn't think about it in that sense. It doesn't even come to just saving people's lives, but point is that even the products that you hold in your hand, the one on your watch, the clothes that you wear, the things that you sleep on, the furniture, almost everything that you're surrounded by was made by a team, whether it's big or small. So we definitely see the impact of teamwork. Of course, I believe that you should be able to work on yourself, like by yourself, effectively too, but at the end of the day, we all work as a team. I mean, I saw this when I was getting projects done that required a lot of moving parts, and there were definitely people. Even when I thought I was doing independent work, I still had to work as a team with my professor, my other classmates, to make sure I was going on the right path, and that way that my report ended up being good. And even when we're at work, I have my responsibilities of things I have to accomplish at the end of the day. But in order for the office to run smoothly, you need to be able to fully function as a team with your other coworkers. And somebody can sign somebody in, register them, other person's like signing somebody out, and people are getting their vitals checked, etc. So you always work as a team, even if you think you're alone, unless you're like typing a 1-page paper for your assignment, just to put it as an example. So question number 2 is, do you enjoy or prefer working in a group? Why or why not? This one comes tied to my first response, so I'm just gonna quickly say it. It really just depends on the situation and the assignment. There's a lot of moving parts, and I can't just do it by myself. It's going to be too stressful to do it by myself. I would definitely prefer working on a team. But if it doesn't require that many moving parts and I can do the work by myself, then I definitely will prefer doing it by myself. It's like when you're doing something massive, you just can't do it by yourself. Honestly, I feel like the stress can be very intense. And that's why I prefer working as a team when it comes to massive projects. But why I prefer working alone in smaller projects is because I have control on the results that I want or how I want it to come out. And question 3 is, what are situations in which group diversity will lead to positive outcomes? And what are situations in which group diversity will lead to negative outcomes? So the situations that diversity will lead to positive outcomes would be when you're creating a product and you want it to be inclusive. I immediately think of clothes and makeup because I'm highly into makeup, and to some extent I'm into fashion. So when these companies come out with new foundations like Fenty, yes, Fenty, you're creating 40 different foundation shades and they're matching concealers. You have to think about the different undertones, and on top of that, just like the average color that you see. So for me, like example, I think I'm considered like medium tan, and I have kind of an olive yellow complexion, and there's a foundation for me compared to somebody who's medium tan and has a warmer complexion, something a little bit more red. So it's definitely when you have to deal with the inclusivity, that's definitely when you need group diversity, and that will lead to positive outcomes. But when group diversity will lead to negative outcomes, I immediately think of anything that has to do with targeting a specific culture. And you definitely want, I guess, some type of diversity, like at least one or two. But when you're trying to target a specific culture and try to grab that culture's attention, you definitely want to have people that are part of that culture and they can collectively put their thoughts together in respect to that culture. And I'm not too sure, but I feel like you can tie that to any cultural situation. If you guys have any examples, definitely comment them below and then we can talk about it. But that's when it comes to culture and you trying to get the somebody from that culture's attention, then you definitely don't want to have too much diversity. You want to be sure that you have people that are part of that culture. So I do hope I answered all the questions correctly, and we'll be discussing it soon. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.